So how does that set us up for NVIDIA later this month?
Well, NVIDIA is a tricky one because we own it. It's one of our bigger positions along with Apple and Meta. And so we have those three. But I think it's going to depend on what the setup is into that print. If analysts are universally bullish and think that, oh, with all of this spending, the numbers are up and to the right forever, that's a problem. And so some of this is going to be how rational are they getting. Now, the good news is we have over the last few days seen some analysts push out numbers because of the delays in their newest chip called Blackwell. Some are thinking through what we've seen with some of the hyperscalers and what they've talked about. Because anytime I hear a company say, well, the biggest risk is underinvesting or underspending versus overspending, that tells me they know that they're spending a lot more than they probably should be. And don't forget, these hyperscalers were the same companies that caused NVIDIA to negatively pre-announce in the first half of 2022, before we heard of this thing called generative AI and ChatGPT. And investors just, obviously you don't want to spoil a good story, right? NVIDIA stock's done great, you got generative AI, but these big companies like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, they do go through digestion periods. And that was pretty clear that they're spending all this money, but the revenues aren't necessarily there, which is why all the forward numbers go down. And at some point, they're going to go, you know what, we need to digest some of this spend.
So what are your thoughts then on Alphabet specifically? They had this Google event, launched its first AI-powered Android update. We've got the new Pixel 9 phones. I realize hardware is not typically the thing that moves Alphabet stock, but AI was a big part of the talking points and the messaging today.
Well, you have to ask yourself one simple question, Morgan, which is, do you think all this money spent on AI by the likes of Microsoft and OpenAI will affect Google's over 90% share in search? If your answer to that is yes, then from a longer-term perspective, Google's got an issue. And it was troubling to me that they had a problem with their YouTube business, and Meta was absolutely fine. So I don't like Google. We're short it, in full disclosure. And, and I like that match versus a Meta, where Meta's using AI to help recommend videos that you want to watch, and then using AI to help show the ads that are engaging. And they didn't have any problems whatsoever. And so I think that's a pretty good pair in that sense.
So given this entire conversation we're having, then does it make sense to be investing in another 493 stocks in the S&P 500? I mean, can we argue, I guess, aggressively say, yes, growth is slowing for the Magnificent Seven and it's time to diversify?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we did when we got that nice sell-off a week ago Monday is we went ahead and started over that week to get involved in a lot of other areas. I mean, we bought names in financial services. We have a basket of consumer staples stocks. We've got a telecom services company. So names that benefit if rates start to come down in various different manners. And because, we've spent the last, really since the end of 2022, and we heard of this thing called OpenAI and ChatGPT, et cetera, it's been Magnificent Seven, 24/7 news cycle. And the other 493 stocks have been sort of forgotten about. But I would be stunned if we didn't get 3 rate cuts. The market would be too, obviously, before the end of the year. That's going to benefit a certain types of stock. Why are we getting those rate cuts? Well, the economy's slowing. And so you need to work through that. And we continue to hear about the consumer slowing down, whether it's from the airlines, the hotels, the online travel agents, a home improvement company this morning. You're hearing this across the board. And so you want to think about, well, where could rate cuts have some kind of benefit? And so I think you're exactly right. Look at the other 493.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about NVIDIA and the rest of the market. I hope you're enjoying the green action in the market today because the S&P closed up roughly 1.6% on the day and NVIDIA was up about 6.5% today. Why did the market move higher today? It was the inflation data we got this morning. PPI came in lower than expected, which is very good news, and that caused markets to breathe a sigh of relief and trade higher in anticipation of Fed rate cuts. I do want to mention a couple things about NVIDIA's chart very briefly. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, NVIDIA resumed trading above this support trend line that stretches all the way back to January of this year, which is very encouraging. And then then today we had a strong move above the 21-day moving average on the daily time frame, which I am very happy to see. The 21 MA is the yellow line on your screen. Additionally, we have a cross on the MACD on the daily time frame, which is very encouraging. So I do like what I'm seeing on the chart overall at the moment. We are very close to becoming overbought on the 4-hour time frame as we get ready to test the 180-day moving average. So I'm not saying that the stock is going to go straight up. That's not at all what I'm saying. Overall, though, I am encouraged by what I'm seeing on NVIDIA's chart for now. So as I've been saying for a few videos now, NVIDIA's price action between now and earnings on August 28th will be largely dependent on the rest of the market. Please hear me well on this. If the market can just remain calm between now and August 28th and not have any more major drawdowns like we've seen the past couple of weeks, then I think we are likely to see pre-anticipatory running in NVIDIA as we approach earnings on the 28th. I said the same thing in yesterday's video, and I still stand by that. Here's the thing though, we have to pay attention to the rest of the market because if the market does move noticeably lower again, then it will weigh down heavily on NVIDIA in the short term. So what are the major concerns right now that could cause the market to trade lower in the short term? In my opinion, there are three main concerns as of now: fears of recession, concerns about escalation in the Middle East and Eastern Europe, and worries surrounding the unwinding of the carry trade in the Japanese yen. Let's very briefly cover these three so you can be better prepared in the weeks ahead. First, fears of recession and worries about the economy. As I mentioned yesterday, we have important inflation data this week. This morning, PPI came in softer than expected, and the market had a very nice move higher. And now tomorrow on Wednesday, we get CPI data in the morning. I would argue that the CPI print tomorrow is likely to be even more important than today's PPI report. Market participants will be paying close attention to CPI tomorrow. If CPI is noticeably lower than consensus estimates, then markets will likely rally on the news in anticipation of Fed rate cuts later this year. And if CPI comes in hotter than expected tomorrow, then markets will most likely trade lower on the news. Now let's mention the second big concern for markets right now: concerns about escalation in the Middle East and Eastern Europe. I am not going to go into detail on these situations because that is not what this channel covers. That being said, be sure to pay attention to developments in these conflicts, because if there is news of escalation, then the market will likely trade lower on that news. And the third major concern for markets right now: the unwinding of the carry trade in the Japanese yen. Here's the thing. Nobody really knows how large the carry trade is. Let's be completely honest about that. Some think the unwinding is almost complete, and others think that the unwinding has only just begun. Now I will be completely honest with you. I don't know how big the carry trade is. Regardless of how big it is, though, I don't want you to miss this. The reality is that the Bank of Japan raising interest rates by a mere 25 basis points caused global markets to sell off precipitously and gap down hard, as you may remember from Monday of last week. So the possibility of the Bank of Japan raising rates again and causing global markets to panic again is a very reasonable concern to have. The Bank of Japan recently came out and said that they would not raise rates again for now because global markets are so volatile at the moment. But now the question is, when will they raise rates again? If the market moves higher and calms down, is Japan going to hit us with another unexpected rate increase? I don't know, but it is definitely something to be aware of. If you hear news about the Bank of Japan raising interest rates again, or if you see the Japanese yen trading noticeably higher, then that will likely be a cause of concern for US markets. Okay, so those are the three major concerns for markets right now: fears of recession, concerns about conflicts abroad, and the unwinding of the carry trade. It is important to stay informed about all of these matters if you are trading NVIDIA between now and earnings on the 28th, because again, if the market trades noticeably lower, it will weigh down heavily on NVIDIA. By that same token, if the market can simply remain calm between now and August 28th, then I think NVIDIA is likely to trade higher. It really does depend on the rest of the market at this point. Long term, I am bullish on the future of NVIDIA as more hyperscalers increase their capex spending on AI by billions of dollars. I think NVIDIA is very likely to report a solid quarter on the 28th, and I am not really concerned about a delay in Blackwell. Even if Blackwell is delayed, NVIDIA can just sell more H100 GPUs in the interim because demand for NVIDIA's products is so great right now, and NVIDIA will likely just guide higher for future quarters in which they expect Blackwell to ship in volume. So a delay in Blackwell is a short-term supply issue, but demand for NVIDIA's products is still strong and growing. This is clear as hyperscalers like Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, and Alphabet continue increasing capex by billions of dollars. So that is where things stand as of now when it comes to NVIDIA. With all of that being said, I hope you're all having a great day, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts about NVIDIA in the comments below. Please leave a like on this video so more people will see it. And while you're down there, please consider subscribing. It's free, and you can always change your mind. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.